Okay, so this is EquisoftLive. So you can go to this on your own browser if you want later on. So EquisoftLive.com, and we have various information there. If you want to sign up for your free trial, the button is at the very top. You can click sign up and you can fill in the various details, just your name and your email address, and you can start your free 30-day trial there. So I've already signed in. And this is what it looks like when you sign in first. It presents you with this dashboard. And like I was saying, this gives you an overview of all the work that has to be done for that month or for that week or day, however you want to filter it down. So we have personal items that you can put in. So in this case, we have our ITBA presentation. But you could put in another item here, and you can, whatever it's going to be, make sure you are signed in. And you can hit save and it will show up on the calendar. There's other items here you'll see with a syringe, and these are reminders that the vet is coming to do follow-up treatments. And we can see there's going to be 8 of these. We can see the name of the horse and the item that's going to happen. And then if there's transport moving in and out of the stud, we'll also have a little indication, and farrier details as well. So it's just a view of your system at a glance. So the first thing I'm going to do very briefly is just show you how the system works. So this is the main menu at the top of the website, and this is how you get around. So we want to do an owner record first, and this is a very simple process. You go into the owner menu, you click or create, and then we can fill in a form, as you may have done on other websites. So I'll just put in my name here and just the basic details that we need, and we'll hit save. So all the forms look like this. You have various input fields, and you can click a little red save button on the top. And that's my owner record created. That's all that's involved in that. But you'll see as I go through the other screens, it's going to be very similar to this. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create a horse record. Again, the idea is we're going to get a mare, and we're going to create a contract and cover and go through the full process. So just an example of creating a horse record. We're going to our menu into the horse section, and we have an option here to create horse. Again, very simple input fields. You do have an awful lot of entries of items to record, but you don't have to fill them all in. The only things that are required are the things with these little red asterisks on them, and some of them are already pre-filled based on defaults that you can choose. So I'll just call this ITBA horse, and we'll just give this a sex of mare. And again, we have the little save button on the top, and we click on that, and that's the horse record save. So that's a new horse record entered. What I want to do is just go to a horse that has filled out more information so we can make more sense of these tabs. So what I'm going to do is go back to our horse. We have our horse search, so I want to find one, and we have one called Blue Bay in the system, just it has a bit of history in it, just so you can see how it works after you've added more information. There's various tabs across the top. We can set the ownership on it. So there's currently an owner here which has been in effect since the 19th of August. I want to just update this to my new owner. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this owner and add in my name here. And I'm now the new owner of this horse. You can see that there's a breakdown of various charges here. So you can record who's going to own the horse, if it's 50%, 50-50, and then you can add in different owners. So we could have this where one owner pays 50% of the keep, and the other, 50-50 keep, and maybe one pays 100% charges and the other one pays 0, and the system will work that out at the end. We can choose when this owner took effect. So let's do it at the start of the year, and we'll save and finish on this. Yes. Okay. And we'll update that. Great. So the next tab is the pedigree history. So this actually builds up over time. If you add in a horse and then set the sire and dam, the system remembers, and then we'll backfill it for all the other ones as well, which is quite nice. We don't provide full pedigree trees, but the system is smart enough to know, who's related to who. We have a full breeding history where we record information, and I'll go into that more in a bit. We have an inquiry screen which will let you quickly look at the horse's history, and there'll be various filters on it. Again, you just click on the buttons to filter it down. In this case, I'm going to look at the vet, the vet items here. but you could equally just look at the farrier for this horse's history. There is a performance tab. You can record basic win details, any prize money, who their trainer is currently, any stakes rank. And again, you're just filling in the form here. You can record media details. So if you want to upload a picture, we can do that here, and we can create a gallery against the horse. And you can also do PDF attachments. We always like showing PDF attachments because you tend to have lots of records coming back from vets. But we also put in the option to record a passport. And the advantage of uploading a passport here is that it's always on file. And we do have a story that we always love to say, in that we had a trainer from Ireland who went to the UK and had left the passport behind, and then they needed it for the return trip. And they were able to sign into EquisoftLive, find the passport, and then be able to present it, which was great. And we loved when we found that out. So we can actually record passports against the horse and when and where they're located. You can record other information such as links to racing posts, so you can have the details there at a glance, and obviously the acquisitions and disposals, so when a horse was sold and how much it was sold for, and so on. So that's just an overview of the horse window. So obviously everything is about the horse, so there's a lot of different tabs and you can record various information. So what I want to do is I want to just quickly show you the contract section. Again, this may only be relevant to some people, but what the contract section does, which is under our stallion and contracts menu, is it lets you create a nomination agreement. So I've already set up a stallion here who's called Star Tracker. And what we can do is we can go in and you can actually pick which mare they are due to see. So we can do, you can pick Blue Bay, who's actually already picked. And then you can say use the mare owners, and that's who's going to appear on the contract. And you can pick various rights that you want on it. The reason I'm showing you this as well is that it shows how all the systems are integrated. So I'm creating a nomination here, but we don't have the information recorded currently on the mare's breeding record. So this is going to update the stallion on her record and record a fee as well. And then we can print a contract. And this is your standard contract that you can send out, listing who you are, who the new owner is, and then when to be sent. And it will record when it was sent out, when it's due back, and when it was received. And you're able to create a nomination invoice at the end of all of that. So I know I've gone through this very quickly, this section, but there's a lot in it, and I'd rather focus on the activity input, which I think the majority of people will probably have benefit for. But you can see that you can create a nomination, which kind of gets the ball rolling on this as well. So what I want to do now is I want to go back to my mare record, and what we're going to do is we're going to say she has arrived at our farm. So we can go into Blue Bay, and we can go down to the location. So she's currently at home since 2019. And I'm just going to say that she's moved to our farm at the start of this year. And our farm is just called Equisoft Stables. Again, it's the same sort of form that you fill in. You click Add Movement Record, and you can hit Save. And now the system knows that they're at Equisoft Stables. So after we do that, we want to set our keep rate. So we need to know how much she's going to pay per day. So we can click Edit on this, and we want to add in a new rate. Everything you're seeing in these drop downs is driven by settings. So we give you a set list, but you can add in your own rates and your own descriptions and your own default prices. So I'm just going to pick the standard rate here, and we choose when this comes into effect. So again, she's arriving on the 1st of January. So we'll be charging her this rate from the 1st of January. Hit Save, and that's it. Okay, so that's the horse arrived at the farm. So that the mare has come to the farm. We've now recorded that she's there and how much we're going to charge her per day for it. So the next thing you might want to do is run a report that we have, and that is for her door card. So we have various reports in EquisoftLive, and they all come with these lists of filters. You don't have to choose them, but If you do need to filter down to say, only give me a list of the horses that belong to a particular owner, or we only want to see a list of mares, then they're here. And they all work the same way. So you can click on magnifying glass and you can literally just click whichever ones you want across. So in this case, I'm just going to look at the mare door card, which is this guy here. And I'm just going to show report. So our horse is called Blue Bay. And this is the door card that's presented. So you can print this out, cut it up and put it on the door. There's various options here. So we could have run this and chosen to show the owners. And we can do that as well. Blue Bay. And we can see that the owner record that I've done has been updated as well. Okay, so we have arrived the mare and we've printed our door card. So we want to do some activity, record some activity against the mare. So this is our activity screen. We can go up to the activity menu and then activity input. And we can choose from the various mares here, we can filter our various horses and we can filter them down to their sex or any other filter that you want. And you can literally just click on which ones you want and then add an activity against them. So you can do multiple in one go. You can say if the farrier's coming to do a trim 4 on 5 horses, you don't have to enter that 5 times. You just click the 5 horses and enter it. But I'm just going to focus on Blue Bay just so we have our one horse. Again, I'm able to search. I can put a tick beside it to remember it because we're going to do a couple of inputs here. And like I said, the first one we're going to do is a farrier input. And what I'll do here is I'll just do a trim 4. So I can type in the code and we'll see that some fields get filled in. So it knows there's going to be a default charge entered here. And again, that's based on settings. So if you have the same vet work being done or the same farrier work being done, you can set that in the settings. So when you're typing this in, you only have to pick the one item, and you'll see that it not only pre-fills the date and the charge, but it also sets a revisit date, and that's what shows up on our dashboard that I showed you at the start as well. So that's how that's driven. You can put any notes you want in and any references, and we can click add to the draft list. And it stays down here until it's approved. So you can build up your list of work that you might want to get done in a day even ahead of time. And then as the work is done and comes back and people let you know it's done, you can tick it and confirm it. So I just want to do some vet items now. So it's the same screen. So I've just done farrier. So all I'm going to do is swap back the vet by clicking on this activity type. And the first item I'm going to do is just a CEM, EVA. And I click that, it fills in the defaults like I mentioned before, and we can add that to the draft list. So that's a CEM done for that horse. And the next thing we might do is we might do a warmer here as well. If we have a nice warming code actually, which we do. Sorry, I'll put it down as, I don't want that one. I'll just do vet check for the minute. And maybe just do warmer. So you can overwrite the description if you want in as well. And you can add the draft list. That might be a case where there's not a dedicated code set up for a warmer, but again, in the settings, you can add it in then as well afterwards. So what we can do is we can review these items and create a PDF. So maybe someone, you might want to hand this off to someone else to deal with it during the day. They can tick it off as done. And then to come back in the evening and say those items are done, you can put a tick beside them all and you can confirm the work. At that point, it'll become eligible for billing and it will update the mare records if we need to as well then. I can commit those as well then. So the next thing that I want to do is we just want to do a teasing for the mare. So again, everything to do with an activity is under our activity menu. So I can go into the activity and then into the tease. I'm going to look for horses called Blue Bay. Again, if you were doing a number of them, you can tick them and do them all in one go. I'm just dealing with one. You can view the previous history here, the tease results. And for the tease results, we'll put this back in February. And we will do, we'll do the 22nd, say. And we'll give it a positive result as well. And we'll click add tease record. And we can confirm it then as well. So that's a tease input. The next thing we want to do is we want to get the mare covered. So again, we can go back into our activity input. we can search for our mare. We can choose the activity type. Previously, we've done farrier and vet, but again, we just go into cover. So it's the same selection process for each thing. The system knows that she's visiting this stallion called Star Tracker because we set up the nomination at the very start. So again, this is one less thing that you have to type in or remember. You can also do it the other way around. If you're doing a cover input and then you wanted to create a contract based on that, you can do it through this window, but we already have one set up. So we'll do the cover, and we'll do back in February as well. We'll do the 26th here. And again, we can add to the draft list then, and that's our cover put in. And what might happen after that, I'll confirm this actually, is we might get a vet check then, you know, a few weeks later, to see the result of the cover, to confirm that she's in foal with a scan positive result. So what we can do is we can pick our mare already selected, and we can go into vet, and we can look at the different scan results that we have in the system. And we have one here just called Scan 1 Plus. What this will actually do is it will update the breeding record to indicate that she's in foal. And you can also, if you know at the time what the fetal sex is going to be, I'll leave that as unknown for the minute. And we can add this to the draft list then as well. Okay. Normally I would ask everyone questions as they go, but I think it's to be too disruptive just with Zoom. But this is kind of all the activity input that we've done. So like I say, I'm going through a lot and condensing it down, but I think it's a good idea to just see how the input goes. So we've arrived the mare, we've done a tease, we've done the various vaccinations and check, we've covered her now as well, and we've created the nomination. So I just want to go back into her record for the 2020 season, and I just want to show you her breeding tab. So we haven't filled any of this information in, but the system again knows what's happened from the various other screens. We know that she's visiting Star Tracker Stallion because we set it up in the nomination. We have the fee that was set up on that contract. We know that she was covered, and when her last service date was done, again based on the activity inputs that we've done there as well. And what we can do here while we're in this screen is we can actually go back to the previous season records, and we can see how you can create a foal record against them. When you create a foal, you can record various information of how the foaling went and the health of the foal, the various times. We actually have updated this now, so you can record various times and observations. These are all based on settings, so you can choose what items you want to show in here or not, and you record a foal photo as well. So that's that screen. So again, I'm only lightly touching on reports here, but just so we have an example, this is our site map. And these are all the different screens that are in EquisoftLive, and this is the reporting section. So these are all the various reports that we have. Some of them are just horse lists, but we have various ones to keep an eye on breeding and also on the activity input as well, and billing details. But I'm not going to go through these. I'm just going to cherry pick a few of them. So one report that a lot of people like is this breeding report. So we've just done one mare, but you'll obviously have a lot more than that. So it's hard to keep track of the current status, when there's foal due dates and so on. So all we do for this breeding record is we go into reports, breeding reports, we pick our mare summary list. This is going to give us a nice breakdown of all the mares in their current status, and we click show report. And this creates a PDF. So we can see that Blue Bay our horse is in here, and you can see the various details recorded against it. And throughout the season, this report will update based on the input that you've put through. So there's very little information in on this one, but if we go back to a previous season, and if we show report, you'll see that it gets a lot more detailed, and we can highlight positive scans or in foal results in green. And you can also see when the foal is due, if or when they were due, if the foal, what the details of the foal were, and their days since their last check as well. So it's a great report just at a glance, and to see how all the mares are on the farm and what their current status is. And it's a good checklist to see if there's ones kind of falling off the list that need to be, checked by the vet, or they have to be covered again. And we get a breakdown then of the mares and foal as well. So that's done quite a lot of work there. We've done all the activity inputs, and we've covered the mare then as well. So the next thing we might want to do is we want to say that the mare has gone home. So we can go back into Blue Bay. So this is the same as when we arrived, or really. You can go into the record. We can go into the location, and we will say that she went home. We'll do it the 11th of the 4th. So back in April, maybe. And we can say she just went home. Again, all these locations are driven by settings, so you can add in your own locations and the defaults to go with them. And we can add movement record in as well. And we can hit save. That's it. So she's gone home. So another report that people would like to do is when the horse is going home, is we do a departure form. So I've shown you all the various reports in here. You can look through this list, but because there's so many, we've put this search item on the top. So you don't actually have to use this menu if you don't want to. If you want to do a departure form, you type in depart and it will give suggestions for you. So we want a depart form in this case. We can click on depart, and we can pick our date range, and we can choose what items are going to be displayed on the departure form as well. So you can take off some of the items if you don't want them displayed when it's being sent home. We can get a list of horses, and I will look for my horse Blue Bay. And there we go. And we can print this report in as well. So this is something that can be printed off, and it can be made bespoke as well. So you can have your own company logo or stud logo up at the top. And it's a nice report to give people. They can show the work that occurred while they were at the stud or at the training yard, and any treatments. Again, all of these items are based on what you choose to share. And you can turn them on or off based on those filters. But it's a nice little thing to save you having to give a printout of what work was done, or writing it up yourself even. So that's a bulk of kind of managing a horse, managing the ownership, doing activities, and doing covers within the system. So the next thing I want to do is related to billing. So that mare was actually with us for a couple of months. And we told it when it arrived and how much to charge per day. So we can go into this section called billing, and we can choose to create an invoice. One thing that I forgot to mention was on the horse records, you can add different billing categories to it, to each horse. So you can do them in bulk at the end. So the bill category we have here is just on departure, but typically people may have a monthly billing for horses that are staying with them for a longer period, and you're going to send out the bills every month. But in this case, just to keep the list short, I'm just going to keep it on departure. So what we can do here is I'm going to go in and pick the category on departure, and I'm going to choose when to bill this. So I'm just going to do it to the end of April, shortly after she left, and I can click calculate invoices. And we'll see that the horse now shows up in the list here as well, along with another horse called Bear Island. We can see that the date to keep there is from the 1st of January until the 10th of April when she left. I'm the owner and I'm paying 100%, and that's the amount that's going to come out on it. And we can see the work that was put in during that period as well. And we have our vet record with a scan positive. Typically, we have activities, if they're an amount of 0, they won't come out in the invoice. But again, you can choose what you want to show up on it. We have detailed review steps here. So again, if you need to review this and you need to get it signed off, we can do a print proof invoice, which is a condensed breakdown of the charges that are going to be on the invoices and any taxes and totals. We then have a preview of the invoices. So this is what the client is actually going to get. And again, we can customize this with whatever logo that you want at the top. It's a typical invoice, and any banking details that you want as well. And once once we're all happy with that, we can commit the invoice to our history. We can do our database backup. Again, something I touched on earlier in the presentation. EquisoftLive backs up all the information every evening for you, so you'll have a history. It's one a day for a week, and then one a month for 3 months. But you can also do it on demand. This is our scariest warning in the system, because you're about to do billing, and once a bill is sent out, we don't let people easily undo it, just because people may have got the invoice then. So it's really a case for an accounting package. So I can commit this to history. We'll get to see the final invoice. We can choose to print it as a PDF, print it out and send it, but we also have this option called zip, which will create a zip file, and it can be emailed out to various clients as well. But I leave it at PDF just so we can have a look to see what it looks like. And we can put customized notes on it as well. You can type those in at the time, and we get the final invoice again, which can be either printed out or emailed for people to receive. So that's the invoicing done in a nutshell. What I haven't covered there is you can have, like I say, you can have split ownership. So we could have had a 50-50 ownership. We could have had the ownership changed halfway through the month, where rather than it being a 50-50 on the 15th of the month, maybe it changed and there's now 3 owners. The system will work all that out for you at the billing stage. You don't have to go in and run half an invoice up to a date and then run a second one. It will work it out as it goes. We have various history reports. You can go in and print an old invoice, and we have our export invoices. So EquisoftLive is typically an invoicing system. So we're going to create the invoices, and you can add on your activities and your farrier charges, your keeper training fees. But if you want to do, advanced accounting options, if you want to do stuff like, credit notes or tax analysis, that's obviously something that you'd really want an accounts package for. So to cater for that, EquisoftLive exports all that invoice information into a number of packages. In Ireland, that typically means QuickBooks and Sage. They're the most popular. I think Sage Pastel is a more popular one in South Africa. And then there's various other ones listed there. Xero is an online service, and Landmark. But we always say, if it's a case that you have your own accounts package that's not listed there, let us know, and we are able to do new export options for it, or we'll at least investigate it. It seems to be a standard thing as well. So that is EquisoftLive in a nutshell. There are other items that I'm not going to go into details. Like I was saying, you can manage races. You can set up jockeys in the racing section. You can record your handicap ratings. It's a similar sort of input that we've seen. You can do a training schedule where you plan for the day, and you can copy the work from day to day and run various reports on it then as well. And we also have one new section. So what this is the horses for sale page. And again, this was something that we brought out with all the COVID restrictions. So what you can do is you can record the sale as normal. You can record if someone's come to look at the horse, and you can do a show list, and you can record various details. This is something that was always in EquisoftLive, and it lets you monitor who's come to look at the horse, who showed interest, and obviously manage sales and plan for sales and what horses you want to go into them. But the new option that we've done is a feature called Display on Equisoft Horses. And this is a website outside of EquisoftLive. But if you want to list your horse on it under your own name, we can do that. And this is based on our settings. So what we can do is we can go to this page, and we have our horse here. I know I'm after stopping through a lot of screens here. I just want to get it ready. If you choose to tick this option, you can choose to list this horse publicly on a web page, and then you can send it to people or list it on your own website. And you can record, the important information of the horse, their pedigree PDF, and then if you've any horse videos, you can link to it. And it's as easy as going in and filling out this form. You type how much, the reserve price on it, any of the lot information. You can do the various statuses and any YouTube videos, and you just click save, and then it's made available. What we can do with the horse for sale is we can give you a bespoke page as well, so that it will fit inside your own website, and it won't list Equisoft. So no one will know you're using Equisoft in the background to do it. That's a bespoke option that we can do as well. So that was a nice little feature that we added. The final thing I want to touch on very briefly is what we call the client portal. I think I've just enough time to do it. Every record that you enter into the system is private, and it's only in your account. But what you can choose to do is you can choose to share it with client. But typically it's private, but you can choose to share with client. And what that means is you can allow select information be made available on what we call our client portal. So the owner of the horse is able to sign into this online, like an online banking system that's available 24/7. In the case of Blue Bay, we have already set it to client, and we can view it in this tab if my Zoom bar goes away. And too many sign-ins. So this is a client login. So people can you can assign a login to an owner, and they can go in and view their own horse information. So in this case, we have our Blue Bay, and we can go in and we can view, or we have our offspring here. But you can go in and you can view records again that you've chosen to share. Not everything is in the system, but the value of this is that rather than someone ringing up and saying, "Is my mare covered?" or "How did it get on with the vet?" the owner can sign in themselves, which reduces the calls into the office that you have to deal with. And you can do it on a very fine basis. So when we did the activity input, I'll just do a vet one here. We have the setting here. Again, it defaults to private, but if you want the owner to know and you have provided them with the access, you can choose to pick client, and that's it. It's a nice little feature that we have, and we would hope that it would reduce work for people in the office.